Following a successful assault on the Frieza's throne world, the Z-Fighters were shocked to discover the Emperor was nowhere to be found. To their horror, they discovered that Frieza was already invading Earth. The rage upon this revelation pushed Vegeta and Goku to achieve Super Saiyan. The Z-Fighters were recruited by Frieza's own brother, Cooler, to travel with him across the stars to teach his little brother a lesson in humility. Thanks to the efforts of Gohan and Trunks, the Earth was able to hold out for long enough for the Z-Fighters to return. Even with the power of Android 19, nothing could stop the angered Saiyans. With his back against the wall, Frieza prepares to fight the Super Saiyans he feared. Who will prevail in this battle? The fate of the two families is decided now. Hearts of Ice and Flames. What if Goku and Vegeta went to Earth? Part 7. Goku and Vegeta's adventures continue, but before we begin, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The like goal for this video is 3,000 likes. Once we get there, I'll post the next part. And if you enjoy the video and want to become a super fan, then consider becoming a Patreon. Link in the description. Let's get into the story. Outside of the King's Castle, Goku and Vegeta stare down third form Frieza, glowing in their golden Super Saiyan auras. Finally, after training their entire lives, they had reached this moment where they could face Frieza, the one responsible for the extinction of their race. Beyond just that, they were standing together to fight their oppressor as a Super Saiyan legend. Although Vegeta looks over to Cooler, who is simply standing to the side, watching on with no expression on his face. Vegeta didn't like that they needed his help to get back to Earth. What was he thinking? What was he planning? Vegeta didn't know, but that'd be a problem for later. For now, his goal was ending Frieza, but Goku chimes in, saying he wants to fight Frieza first. The annoyed Vegeta barks at Goku, saying that he's not going to let him do that. This is his fight, let him have it. Frieza and Cooler look on in disbelief as the two brothers continue arguing, playing rock, paper, scissors. Were these pathetic monkeys treating this like a game? He was the Emperor of the universe. He will not be disrespected like this. As Goku strikes a pose, excited to have won the game, Frieza launches himself towards Goku, kneeing him in the face. The impact creates a shockwave that echoes through the castle. However, to Frieza's shock, Goku merely smirks. He wasn't hurt at all. Frieza immediately leaps back, as Goku starts to slowly walk towards him. The Emperor begins to sweat, stammering as he yells at the filthy Saiyan to get back, firing a volley of rapid-fire death beams. However, Goku slaps every single one of the blasts away, right back to Frieza. He manages to dodge them all, but is then immediately hit from behind by Goku, hitting Frieza's head gem as the Emperor crashes down into the ground. Frieza is stunned. Just how fast was he? Vegeta thinks to himself that he can't believe this was the Frieza they were afraid of for so long. Had he and Kakarot really become that powerful? Of course, they had achieved the legend, but perhaps there was more than that. From far away, Raditz watches in awe. He had left Cooler's spaceship along with the other Z-Fighters, but he didn't help the Earthlings nor assist the Frieza Force. No, he had to be there. He had to see for himself if Kakarot and Vegeta were really able to face off against Frieza. He knew they had gotten vastly stronger since becoming Super Saiyan. But this was ridiculous. Raditz clenches his fist, wondering if what Kakarot had told him in the spaceship was true. Did his bonds with his family and friends really push him this far? Was that really the reason a low-class Saiyan runt like Kakarot could achieve the legend of Super Saiyan? Back at the battlegrounds, Cooler mocks his brother, telling him that he needs to take this battle seriously or else it'll be his funeral. Goku chimes in, saying that he's pretty annoyed too. Enraged, Frieza bulks up into his final form. He wasn't playing around anymore. This was his full power state. He wouldn't hold anything back. Goku smiles. This would be a real challenge now. Frieza and Goku resumed their battles, as Vegeta and Cooler watch on. Frieza's attacks had become much stronger and faster, forcing Goku to switch tactics and go on the defensive for a while. However, Frieza had abandoned all caution to the wind. His maniac attacks were becoming more and more powerful, but they were also becoming sloppier. As he watches his younger sibling thrash about with reckless abandon, Cooler shouts words of advice in his condescending tone.
Keep your fists up. Center yourself. Strike with your whole body. Your fighting stance is pathetic. Do you even know how to fight?
Frieza didn't like this one bit, yelling at his brother to shut up as Goku slams a roundhouse kick to the Emperor's gut, then grabbing onto his tail, spinning him around, and letting him go, hurling straight towards the castle below, demolishing it. Vegeta looks over at Kakarot, complimenting him in the strike, giving him a thumbs up.
Hey kids, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video thus far. If you like this sort of content, want to see more, and support the channel, then consider becoming a Patreon. There, you can help support the channel through various tiers while getting some perks of your own. As a Patreon, you will be helping improve the videos, get them out faster, fund the awesome thumbnails, editing, and much more. Overall, this is the best way to ensure that I can keep providing you guys with awesome Dragon Ball content. Plus, you get some neat perks, like an extra discussion video every other week, early access to videos such as this one, and behind-the-scenes content. So be sure to go to patreon.com/SmugStick and consider supporting the channel. Thank you to all the current patrons for your support, and let's get back into the story.
And now back to our show.
Vegeta thinks to himself that Kakarot had come a long way from that annoying toddler he met back on planet Vegeta. Here he was now, a low-class Saiyan with seemingly no combat potential, pummeling the evil Emperor. His training with Grandpa Gohan, Kami, and Vegeta himself molded Kakarot into a true martial artist, a warrior beyond anything the Saiyan race was capable of producing on his own. Vegeta was proud of his brother. He trusted Kakarot and his abilities. He had faith he could easily win this fight. But Vegeta's thoughts were interrupted as he sees a massive skyscraper rise up into the sky. He was using his telekinesis to turn these towers into weapons, launching them at Goku. He dodged the pillars and even blasted a few, but he had let his guard down. From behind, Frieza launched a devastating barrage of punches. He was putting his entire weight and strength into the attacks. Whether he liked it or not, Frieza was listening to his brother's advice. He was adapting and learning the longer the fight dragged on. Frieza grabbed onto Goku, squeezing with all his might. Frieza laughed. He was going to squash the life out of him. The Saiyan screamed in pain as his bones started to crack. Vegeta was starting to sweat. Should he intervene? No, not yet. He trusted Kakarot's abilities. He could win this battle. Almost as if in response to this thought, Goku clenched his teeth. He elbowed Frieza straight into the gut, pounding him mercilessly, leaving Frieza gasping for air. The villain let go of Goku, as the Saiyan immediately followed up with a point-blank Gallic gun. It connected with Frieza, who was sent hurling into the heavens in a bright purple light. For a moment, Cooler thinks his brother is dead, sighing in disappointment. However, Goku suddenly looked up to the sky as the clouds turned dark. Lightning was crackling wildly in every direction, as something large was heading straight towards the planet. No, it was several massive objects. Goku and Vegeta couldn't believe what they were seeing. A massive meteor shower heading towards the planet. Frieza laughed maniacally as he floated down from the parting sky. He'd like to see the monkeys survive this attack. With a wave of his hand, Frieza sent the meteors rocketing toward the targets. Vegeta and Goku charged up their ki, as the older Saiyan warned Goku that if any of them hit the planet, Earth is doomed. Standing back to back, the pair fire a ki volley directly at the meteor storm, blasting them into smithereens. Not even a single piece would be allowed to strike Earth. Nearby, the Z-Fighters helped everyone escape. None of the civilians would be harmed. As they finished rescuing the last group of Frieza Force captives, including Roshi, Gohan, Yamcha, Bulma, and Chi-Chi, they noticed not only the Saiyans' ki soaring, but also the meteors in the sky. Even Gohan and Trunks noticed them, all the way in Korn's tower. Quickly, all of them launched their own attacks. Roshi and Gohan fired Kamehamehas. Chi-Chi and Bulma searched for cover. Little Gohan and Trunks launched their own attacks at the meteors. They knew they had to help too. Even Raditz fired a double Sunday at the sky. He had no intention of dying here. But as all of them were destroyed, one last meteor, far larger than any other, was heading towards Mount Pautsu. The two brothers stood back to back once again, charging their ki to the max, cupping their hands and shouting in unison, Kamehameha! The double blast struck the flaming meteor as it appeared to break apart. However, Frieza wasn't going to sit back and let those measly Saiyans win. Roaring at the top of his lungs, Frieza prepared a massive death ball, launching the attack behind the meteor. Vegeta yells out at Kakarot that they need to put everything into this attack, screaming that they won't allow Frieza to destroy their world. The brothers pour every ounce of ki into their Kamehamehas as the two beams swirl together, becoming one. Sandwiched in between the blasts, the meteor disintegrates into ashes. The Brotherhood Kamehameha is strong enough to push back the death ball, sending it straight back into space as it explodes. The shockwave created shakes the entire Earth, even destroying some cities. Goku and Vegeta are knocked out of the sky and sent crashing back down into the ground, straight into the rubble of the castle. Goku and Vegeta stand back up, triumphantly, but exhausted. Vegeta approached the defeated Frieza, who's struggling to stand. The Emperor can only bite his tongue as the prince approaches him.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. This is your fate, Frieza. This is always what was going to happen to you. Or hubris and delusions of grandeur have left you a broken man. You're an ant beneath our boots. Us, mere Saiyans you hated so much.
Extends out his hand, a key ball forming in his hand.
This is for the Saiyan race, for our fathers, for our pride. Any last words, Frieza? This is impossible!
Shut it, Frieza! It all happened in a single moment, before either of them could act. Two death beams pierced through Goku and Vegeta, blood coughed up as the two drop out of Super Saiyan. Frieza looks shocked as an imposing, familiar figure descends overhead.
I always knew you were a disappointment, baby brother. But this is just embarrassing. I think you were utterly humiliated by these ridiculous baboons. Our forces are annihilated, your home base in shambles, and for what? So you could get clowned on by these filthy monkeys. You bring shame to our clan's name, Frieza. As I had thought, you're a poor excuse for a ruler and a poorer excuse for a fighter. The universe doesn't need a pathetic imposter like you. It needs a true ruler. One that has the strength and the constitution to lead it. The Frieza Force and the Saiyan race shall end today. Your deaths shall become the first step of my ascension, for the cooler force to reign supreme. You should feel honored. You lot shall be the first, and soon to be the last, to witness my ultimate transformation.
Cooler's ki skyrockets as his transformation begins, bulking up massively, a blade-like protrusion extending on his arms.
Now then, ready to kneel?
Frieza is flabbergasted. He thought he was the strongest in the universe, yet his older brother had found a way to access the fifth form. He had no words. He merely looked on from the ground below in fear. Raditz too is shocked. It was a fool to think that Kakarot and his prince could win, and that the Saiyan race could be free. They were so close to beating Frieza, but neither Goku nor Vegeta would go down without a fight, powering back into Super Saiyan and launching themselves towards Cooler. But despite their second wind, the Saiyans are exhausted and hurt. If they worked together, perhaps they could defeat Cooler, but Cooler knew this. He never intended on letting them live. He was using the Saiyans as mere weapons to aim at his brother. Knowing that the Saiyans couldn't back down from a fight, Cooler knew these Super Saiyans would battle Frieza to death. Either the Saiyans killed Frieza or Frieza killed them. Either way, Cooler won. As Cooler grabbed Goku by the head and slammed him deep into the ground, Vegeta pointed out his fingers and fired multiple ki blasts, but Cooler simply rushed forward while still holding onto Goku. Punching Vegeta in the gut, he grabbed Vegeta's neck with his tail, throwing both Saiyans to the side before rising up. An eruption of ki ravaged the land, seemingly consuming the Saiyans and exposing the magma beneath. What remained of the castle collapsed into the bubbling lava. Frieza stands back up from the rubble as Cooler laughs triumphantly. His brother turned to Frieza, telling him that now that the Saiyans are gone, he was next. But from the corner of his eye, Cooler spots something moving below. Laying on the edge of a rock formation inches away from the boiling lava was a barely conscious Goku and Vegeta. Cooler grits his teeth. No wonder Frieza had a hard time exterminating these Saiyans. They were cockroaches. But as Cooler prepares his final attack, he's suddenly tackled by an unknown red blur. The force of the impact was very strong, and it managed to crack Cooler's head shape, leaving him winded. Cooler turns back to face a little boy with a tail.
Leave my dad and uncle alone! I'll never forgive you!
Cooler holds onto his chest, bursting his aura, as he realizes there was another Saiyan out there. Because of the humiliation, he was going to make sure this kid had a painful death. As Cooler and Gohan begin to fight, Trunks and the rest of the Z Fighters arrive to lend their help, including their own masters in Yamcha. They knew Cooler couldn't be trusted. Cooler yells out, calling for his armored squadron, and in an instant, his 3 royal soldiers appear in the battlefield, telling them to attack the Earthlings. The Saiyans were his to dispose of. The squadron fought back against the Z Fighters, and Raditz looked over to Gohan. Despite being such a young kid, he was able to reach a power that rivaled Cooler's for a second there. However, whatever massive power-up he had tapped into was fleeting. It was dropping fast. Piccolo saw this as well and told Gohan to wait. He was going to help, but he was stabbed from behind by Salsa, telling the Namekian that death would come for them both soon. Raditz shook his fist, biting his lip hard. It bled. No, he wouldn't allow his race to face the end like this. He refused! Ever since becoming Frieza's personal punching bag, he vowed to himself that he would never feel weak or helpless again. Even if he died here, he'd at least die fighting. With true Saiyan grit, just as his father and his people wanted, Raditz rushed in. As Cooler held up the beaten Gohan by the neck, to finish him off, Raditz fired a powerful Saturday Crush directly at Cooler. The blast hits, and it actually managed to hurt Cooler quite a bit, dropping Gohan in the process. Raditz rushed in, saying that he was the opponent now. Cooler was getting sick and tired of the Saiyans. Raditz was a Saiyan, Gohan was a Saiyan, Goku was a Saiyan. Were there any other Saiyans he should know about? Far, far away, a Saiyan named Broly sneezed. But back on Earth, Krillin and Tien struggled against the grappler door. Trunks charged forward with a somersault kick to the back of the soldier's head. Tien took the opportunity to use the Solar Flare, blinding Door as he yelled at Trunks to help out his dad and Goku. Trunks nods, flying off, but Door roars and yells out that he's not going anywhere. He attempts to chase down Trunks as 3 flying discs head towards him. A couple miss, but the last one slices him into several pieces. Krillin grins. His training finally paid off. Nace, who was fighting Yamcha, saw the retreating child and tried to blast him down. However, Tien intercepted the attack and redirected it back to Nace. The alien screamed in pain as he was completely electrocuted, getting fried in the process. While attempting to land a single slash at Roshi and Grandpa Gohan, Salsa looked over to see the death of Nace. His scouter couldn't pick up Door either. Were they both defeated? Shouting at Lord Cooler that the armored squad was suffering casualties. He requested a tactical retreat, but Piccolo stood behind him.
Oh, you're not going anywhere.
Salsa spun around, panicking, but then the Namekian simply grabbed his hand while placing his own hand on his chest and blasting him off, completely incinerating Salsa. Nearby, as the bloodied and beaten Gohan and Raditz stand together, Cooler, the tyrant, notices the Z-Fighters start to approach them. Cooler demands to know where his elite soldiers are, but Piccolo simply grins. They were all in hell, and he'd be joining them soon. Cooler is enraged. These lower life forms were capable of taking out his armored squadron. Piccolo retorts that they are Earthlings, and they would defeat him here and now. But one by one, the Z-Fighters fell. No matter what they tried, they couldn't beat down Cooler. Kamehamehas, Destructo Disc, Kohos, Gallic guns, and spatial beam cannons, it didn't matter. Cooler would simply tank them all. All this while, Trunks was busy trying to find his father and uncle. He could barely feel their ki. Meanwhile, Frieza was still down on the ground, watching the battle, struggling with his emotions. He was humiliated by these filthy Saiyans, the Earthlings, and now his brother. Cooler had played him like a fiddle. He treated him as a pawn, a stepping stone for his own ambitions. How dare he? The audacity. Who cares if his brother had a 5th form? It didn't matter. He was an emperor, and his rage would not be denied. Frieza stood up, sparking his aura. The nearby lava flared up and erupted into giant plumes in response to Frieza's rising power.
I am the strongest in the universe. You horrible excuse for a brother. You shall die by my hand!
Frieza pulled back his hand, gathering all of his ki and firing it right back to his brother. Piccolo and Raditz barely got away as Cooler's eyes widened, the bright blast consuming him before exploding. Frieza smiled sadistically. Cooler still stood. He was covered in scratches and dust. The attack had done a great deal of damage. Cooler was absolutely livid. He should have killed Frieza where he stood. It is finally time to prove once and for all who is the strongest in the family. There was only room for one emperor. Frieza and Cooler clashed, their strikes sending shockwaves across the planet. Entire mountains and forests were crushed from the pressure of their attacks. Piccolo yelled at Krillin to use this opportunity to take care of the injured fighters, gathering them and flying away. Piccolo was nervous. If they didn't do something soon, the planet would be destroyed by their battle. Finally, Trunks flies over the bellowing magma, where he finds the limp bodies of his father and uncle. Trunks checks on their bodies. They were still alive, but barely. Trunks took out the final senzu bean given to him earlier by Korin at the tower, splitting it in half and giving it to each of them. The pair could barely chew it, but they were able to narrowly swallow it, their eyes widening as a massive pillar of golden light shot past the clouds. This instantly stopped the fight between the evil brothers, looking on in horror as the man with golden hair took silent walk towards them. For the first time in his life, Cooler felt fear as Cooler turned to his brother, begging him to stop their sibling squabble immediately so they could team up against the Super Saiyans. This was their only chance to survive. Frieza gritted his teeth. He despised the idea of working alongside his arrogant brother, but he knew he was right. If they wanted any hope of defeating those monkeys, he needed his help. Goku and Vegeta stand face to face against Frieza and Cooler. Goku looked around, saying that their time is over as he watches the flames consume Earth. He will give them one last chance to leave Earth and never return. Goku and Vegeta get into their battle stance as Frieza and Cooler look on. Silence filled the air until a giant pillar of magma erupted between the four. Without a word, the two pairs of brothers charged towards one another. Their bond was forged in the heart of battle many times. It's a bond that is simply unbreakable. Frieza and Cooler have no hope of overcoming it. But Frieza and Cooler's power was slowly draining as they used all their skills. Cooler realized that it's over. There's no hope of winning unless Cooler attempts to charge up a supernova in a final attempt to destroy Earth. The alien juggernaut laughs maniacally, telling the Saiyans to say goodbye to the planet. Vegeta rushes towards it and punches a hole straight into Cooler's stomach. Frieza's eyes widened as he attempts to fire Ki Blast at Vegeta, but Goku appears in front of Frieza and breaks his hand. Vegeta whispers in Cooler's ear that his greatest mistake was underestimating the Saiyan race, finally blasting a hole straight through Cooler as the Emperor coughs up blood as he begins to lose control of the Ki Sphere. As it begins to come towards Earth, Goku flies up while holding onto Frieza, kicking the supernova up to the sky and throwing the Emperor along with it as Vegeta throws Cooler. The two evil brothers slam into the supernova out in space. Goku and Vegeta stand next to each other, the two of them standing back to back, pointing their fingers up and saying,
Jackpot!
as dirty fireworks erupt, as the supernova erupts into dirty fireworks and the Cooler brothers along with it. It was finally over. Earth was saved, and the Saiyans avenged. Goku and Vegeta reunite with their friends and family who congratulate them on their victory. However, along with them was a single person who stood out from the rest, Raditz. Goku approaches him, telling him that he knows he fought Cooler in defense of Earth. Raditz snorts in disgust, spitting at the ground, as he corrects his foolish brother. He wasn't trying to protect anyone, he simply fought that fool for his own survival. Goku smiles. Sure, whatever he says. Goku looks at Vegeta for a moment, as he gives Raditz an offer to stay on Earth. For a moment, Raditz stays quiet. It looks like he might take the offer, but he chuckles. No, there's nothing on this planet for him. He initially came to this planet to find his little brother, but apparently he already had an older brother to take care of him. He didn't need Raditz. He never has, and he probably never will. Raditz says this with a twinge of sadness in his voice, but before Goku can say anything else, Raditz turns away. He adds that he'll be leaving with the rest of the Frieza Force. The next time they meet, he won't be so kind. He'll get stronger and discover how to become a Super Saiyan himself. Goku and Vegeta smile as they tell Raditz that they'll look forward to it. Without another word, Raditz flies away. After the battle, the remaining Frieza Force soldiers along with Raditz retreat back into space as Earth started to be rebuilt, thanks to the power of the Dragon Balls, along with everyone else being revived. The Z Fighters congratulated themselves on saving Earth as Bulma hosts the party at Capsule Corp. Goku says that he's proud of little Gohan for standing up and protecting Earth. He thinks he might be stronger than him someday. Vegeta butts in, saying that Trunks was just as impressive, if not more so. Goku and Vegeta start arguing over whose son is the strongest, as Vegeta vows to train Trunks to become stronger than Gohan. Trunks gives a bright smile as Gohan looks down timidly. Everyone laughs, and Earth enjoys its first taste of peace since the invasion. However, not everything is as it seemed. It wasn't just the Frieza Force that had retreated from Earth. On a Frieza Force spaceship, Kikono approaches Commander Sorbet. He reports on massive amounts of losses the Force had suffered from both the destruction of Frieza Planet 79 and the failed invasion of Earth. Zarbon, Dodoria, the Ginyu Force, Lord Frieza, and more than half of the army soldiers were gone. How could this happen? Sorbet asked himself, slamming his fist down. Barry Blue walks into the room, stating that this is merely a minor setback. Their invasion of Earth wasn't a complete loss. They did receive an interesting new ally who has some very intriguing news for them. From the shadows, Dr. Gero enters the room. He states that with his knowledge of cybernetics and resources from the Frieza Force, he'd be more than glad to create an army of androids to replenish the ranks of the Force. Sorbet is intrigued after reading the report regarding Gero and 19. It seemed like that impressive machine was stronger than even the Ginyu Force. But what truly delights Sorbet and Berry Blue is two liquid tubes being floated up to the room. Frieza and Cooler, gravely injured, missing limbs and other body parts, but alive. Gero promised Sorbet to work alongside their scientist With their genius, they'll be able to rebuild the Lords, even stronger than before. Sorbet is glad to have him in his ranks. But as the alien scientists continue to work, Jiro quietly leaves to enter a private room, hidden away from the rest of the force. Jiro has a computer he programmed working on a secret project. Jiro chuckled to himself. With all the data gathered from those aliens, especially Frieza and Cooler, and those Super Saiyans, Jiro has everything he needs to create the ultimate android. The red ribbon would rise again. When it does, it would mean the end of Goku and Vegeta. He looks up at the incubator pod as a single fetus floats in the green liquid.
I look forward to seeing you very soon, Cell.
Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed part 7 of What If Goku and Vegeta Went to Earth Together. This one is the brainchild of Professor Chimp, as I needed some help continuing this story. Be sure to check out his channel, link in the description. And of course, credit to Rajmain for editing the video. I want to give a huge thank you to the Patreons of the channel. It's thanks to you guys that I can get Raj and Professor Chimp to help with these videos. You get cool little perks, like watching videos early, a preview of some videos, and a bi-weekly podcast, which I need to catch up on. I promise you guys it's coming soon. And above that, a shout out at the end of the videos. So thank you to the Saiyan Prince and Saiyan Rebel Patreons of the channel: Angel MR, Jamont Bourgeois, 7 Macola, True Lightning Striker, Squad 100, Ghost 1571, PJ9D III, Lee Orchidas, Gabriel Scott, Orange Bag YT, Trent Trolls, D-Man Plays, Jim G, Drum Foster, D Miles, The Gaming Galaxy, Dakota Kaiser, Salil Paranjape, Keith Grimes, Celestia, Dreadpool, The Baked Potato, and the OG, the real Samuel Randall. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the channel. Anyways, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and until we meet again, see ya!